happy
I
in
think we're
work.
on. Are we
So,
on?
Sam, I knew we'd get there.
Jesus.
It takes a bit,
Wow.
hey?
Yeah. Jesus.
You're
Yeah,
not
we got there.
struggling. You figured that one out. Well done.
Yeah. Smart boy.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Let's go
very
see if it
brave for
works
doing
like
this.
this. No, alright, that
No, it
doesn't work.
won't. Nah,
Nah,
you just
sweet.
have to go. This is exactly what happened to me. I had it all like set up with my laptop, and then I'm like, oh, it only works on your phone. So
Yeah.
that's just what we have
Found
to do.
it's not going to happen perfect, is it?
Well, that's just the way life is, right? There's a
Yeah.
lesson in it too. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So I want to say thank you,
Alright.
first of all, for joining me.
Yep.
I'm really
You're
delighted that
welcome.
you offered to come and talk to people and just share your experience and share your story. And we're just going to keep this really brief. I said that to the guys before you hopped on. I was like, we're not going to be here all night. But I
Yeah.
suppose because of your journey and your experience and how much your life has changed over the last 18 months, I think it's just such an important opportunity to share with people some insight into what that looks like. Give you an
Mm.
opportunity to share your story and how your life has been different. But let's just start off maybe by giving people a bit of a picture of, like, I know your story, right? So you wrapped up school pretty early.
Yeah.
Can you just tell people a little bit of insight into like that journey from when you finished school to before we met?
Yeah. So you can hear me all clear, yeah?
Yeah,
Sweet.
we can.
Sweet. Yeah, so basically I left school when I was about 16. I dropped out after year 10. Just purely because for a few reasons. I just couldn't really be there. I had a lot of trouble like focusing and like thinking. Like I was just so bad in school. Pretty much never done anything. Like I was just pretty much the smart ass in class, leaning back in my chair, like talking, doing nothing, getting in trouble.
Can't imagine it, Sam.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was just always just really sort of self-conscious at school, like really bad, like just to the point where I just kind of was just so scared to be kind of anywhere or around anyone. And like when I'd be in class trying to do work, and just the thought of like actually like there was just so much going on that like the thought of actually trying to think and do something was just physically like painful. I had no desire. Like the only like I never done any homework or any of that. It was pretty bad. I think I done one assignment when I was at school, and it was on like the ocean and surfing. I got a 10 out of 10 for it.
Yeah, well, that was
But
your passion, right?
apart from that, I just done nothing. I don't know. I was just really struggling. Didn't really know. I was just in a weird place. And then, finished year 10. A bunch of my friends left. They all had like apprenticeships and stuff to go to, but I just wanted to get out and just make my own money. And like I really wanted to get like braces because my teeth were all messed up when I was young, which I was super like self-conscious about. And I just wanted to leave. I just left. I left school. Like I'll be straight up. I worked at Best and Less, which is like Target, selling friggin' grandma's underwear. Worked there for a bit, then went to Woolies. Worked at Woolies for a while. Then I worked at a surf shop. Just kind of going job to job. I thought the surf shop was what I liked, and then I found I didn't really enjoy it so much. And then done a couple of years of that stuffing around. Then just left home with my mate Mitch, who we just done a road trip up the coast. Then for a few months, and ended up in Newcastle.
Yeah.
And then in Newcastle, I think I was about 21 at the time, and we were both the same. We just like both got sort of the same job, just like removalist. We just spent a couple of years just I went from job to job. I was working like a removalist, dish pig, metal roofer, a couple of other like random labor construction jobs, and just going nowhere. Hey, just like literally partying from like Friday to Monday every weekend. I just had no direction, no goal whatsoever. A lot of like, I just really struggled to focus at work as well. Like I would be like really trying my hardest to kind of do well, but there was just something in the back of my head that was just taking my attention away. And it was like, it was like painful. Like I really was trying, and done that for a few years, and then yeah, and then I was just like, fuck, like I don't know what's going on. I don't get excited doing a trade, or I don't want to go to uni. I was just like, stuff this, I'm just leaving. Like I'm just going to go traveling.
Yeah.
Just if I come back, I come back. If not, whatever. Like I just want to go and figure out what the hell's going on. Yeah, so I left, went to Mexico by myself. Like I just left everything at home, sold my car, got rid of all my shit, just completely, like I had a bunch of fines, I think, that I hadn't paid, but I just didn't give a shit, just left it. And yeah, I'll just be honest, yeah, and then left, went overseas, met up with a couple of good mates, and we traveled Mexico for a few months. That was super fun. And that was an epic trip, but still the whole time was just in the back of my mind, kind of like a bit of like worry, like I couldn't really enjoy myself because it was kind of just like I just left my life and I was just like pushing it back a couple of years, like, you know, when I come back home, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I just met a bunch of cool people and had a heap of fun, then done that, and then I moved to Canada, to Whistler to do a snow season and work and just whatever. Yeah, I went there and it was just like, it was beautiful. It was amazing. Just worked in like hospo over there. Just snowboarding, a lot of partying. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, I was just doing that for a while, and yeah, just kind of like, I don't know. It was just a pretty intense, pretty full-on lifestyle. Like everyone who's been over there knows, it's like you snowboard, work, party, snowboard, work, party. It's like just this kind of pretty full-on vicious cycle. I've
I
done
think a
that
lot
for a
of people would
while.
resonate with that as well, Sam. Like that cycle, I think it's like the cycle of your 20s. You know,
Yeah.
like it was the same when we came across from Ireland to the East Coast, and like it was the same thing. Like we just worked, party, and it was a cycle.
Yeah.
We couldn't break, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think
Yeah.
I just remember like when we met, like that was the conversations that we were having. So I think that a lot of people will resonate with that as well into that cycle. And actually, you know what? It might have been even like say like I was in my 20s and that was happening, you're in your 20s, right? So that's when, like, that's often when we see the pattern starting, but it also can continue when we're adults as well. So there might be people here who they were like that when they're in their 20s, but now life's still the same when they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, where, you know, they're just feel like they're still caught in the same kind of cycle where it's work, you know, maybe
Yeah.
have a few drinks at the weekend, work, and it's just
Mm.
that cycle that people get stuck in. So then what
Yeah.
happened? Like you were in Canada.
Yeah.
What happened to the point where you're like, okay, like something needs to change?
Yeah, so I'd done the winter, and then I kind of got stuck there because I didn't have any money. So I got stuck there for summer, and then summer was pretty full on as well. Just doing the same sort of thing, same routine. And it just got real bad. Like it was just so unhealthy, and just this kind of like anxiety I've sort of had growing up. It just kind of was just slowly like building up, and like the fear of eventually going back home was like starting to cross my mind, and then just got bad. I actually got fired from like 3 jobs just from being an idiot and not turning up. I just didn't give a shit. Like I thought it was like cool or whatever. And yeah, and then it just got to a point where I was just like I was like, fuck, like it was actually like an actual point I remember, when it got real bad and I got fired from my last job, and I was like, this is heavy, like something needs to change. I got fired, and then I left Canada, I went to America for 2 months. Then I came back for my second season in Canada, and yeah, and then I don't know, like I stopped partying, I was just working and snowboarding, and then it just, I don't know, just like all this, I don't know, just like this kind of dark sort of weird energy just started coming over me. Like I started thinking about the thoughts of coming back home, and I don't know, it just got really bad and really lost in my own sort of head. Like I had no self-confidence, like low self-esteem, and just a lot of shit going in my head, and just got really bad to the point where like I couldn't even, like, I'll be honest, I couldn't even like leave my room. Like
Yeah.
I was living in a share house with like 12 people, and you know, everyone would get up and go snowboarding together and stuff, and I just kind of would stay in my room until everyone left, and then come out and go by myself. I was like, I just couldn't talk to anyone.
Yeah, I remember, like, it's so funny because I can't wait for people to hear your life now, and also that you're on this. So, like, I remember when the first time that we spoke, and first of all, you didn't speak very much, at all. And like, look at you now, which is absolutely amazing. But I just remember that one of the things that you said to me was, you know, do you think you'd be able to help me? Because I sit in a room of like 15 people, and I want to say something, but I'm just so stuck in my own head of like thinking what I'm going to say before I say it. And that it gets to a point where like the conversation's over and I haven't been able to participate, you know? So I think, you know, people are probably sitting here going like, look at this guy, he's great. And he's like well able to just, oh, the gorgeous bird. He's well able to just, you know, share his side of the story. But I think it's just to set the scene of like, you know, and I think what you experienced, a lot of people experience in the quiet, you know, they're not very good at, like we may not be able to identify with it, but I think just from hearing you being able to articulate it, it's going to help a lot of people realize, okay, actually, where maybe I am living stuck in my head like that, you know. Yeah. So then, okay, so then you got to a point where you're like, okay, like
something
I've had
needs to
enough of this.
change. Yeah. I was just like, I knew deep down, I was like, I know I'm so much better than this, and I've got something deep inside me that just like is trying to get out, but it's just like trapped. And I didn't know what was going on, and that's when, at that point, was when I saw Rose, who, you know, a friend that I met traveling. She started posting some stuff on Facebook, like about fear and paradigms and self-image and breaking fear barriers and stuff. And then I made the decision to like reach out to her and message her and say like, what are you doing? That looks interesting. And she told me, she messaged me saying, yeah, I've been doing this program, working with a mentor, like you'd probably really enjoy it. I was like, yeah, like that sounds epic. She's like, do you want me to, you know, get you in contact with her? I was like, yeah, please. Like if like I need something right now. Like, and yeah, and then that's when, I ended up having a phone call with you. I told you what was going on. Like, I was like, you know, I know I'm like really good at all these different things, but I know I can be so much better.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. Like, I feel like there's this mental barrier just like holding me back from being so much better. And then you were like, you know, you explain it to me. You're like, Sam, I know exactly what that is. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, you don't get it. Like, I feel different to everyone else. And
yeah,
like, no,
that's what you kept saying.
Yeah, and you're like, no, that's what everyone says, and whatever. And then somehow you explained to me what the program was about and stuff, and you ended up convincing me to sign up to the program. And I had like tiny bit of money at the time, like not even enough to book a flight home, and somehow you made me like convince me to I just laid out everything that I had, every cent that I had into it. I was like, I'm just hoping that this is, you know, this is the answer, is the key to like whatever the hell is going on. And I did. I signed up that night, like dumped a bunch of money on it, and then a couple of weeks later, I got the program in the mail, and I just remember getting it, like the black booklet that we get, Think Into Results, and I just started flicking through a few pages and just seeing stuff like, you know, like setting a fantasy goal and like fear, self-image, or like the stickman diagram that they use to represent like the mind and all our mental faculties, and how the paradigms, you know, control all of our habitual thinking and behavior. And I was just looking at it, and I was just like, this is it. Like, this is what I've been looking for, like my whole life, like without a doubt. And started, you know, getting mentored by you, getting on the group calls over there. Like it was funny.
A bit of fun, hey, at the start, because I just remember you were in Whistler, and anyone who lives in Whistler will know that like the phone signal, like the internet connection and phone signal over there is crap. And I'm in Melbourne, and we're like trying to like coordinate, first of all, the time difference, and then this fucking crap phone signal. So it was really a bit of fun at the start, but like I think, you know, your sheer determination, like you were so determined, and I think that's what I see with the guys that you know, do the best with this and get amazing results is like coming with that sheer determination where you're like, this is, I want my life to change and this is going to be the thing that does it for me, you know? So
Yeah.
it was just, it was a lot of
Yeah.
fun, hey?
I remember
Yeah.
like I was just every morning, you know, everyone would hear everyone like downstairs getting ready to go snowboard, and I was just like in my room just reading, like writing, watching
Yeah.
videos till like midday. Then I'd go snowboarding by myself, come back, go to work, come lock myself in my room, just reading and writing, just like holy shit, this stuff is incredible. Yeah, and
How
then
did
done
you
that
feel at
for
the start though? Like, did you feel like when you were like at the start before you got involved, were you like skeptical
skeptical.
or
At
yeah,
first, I was like, yeah, like a little bit. I was like, fuck, I just felt like I just dumped a whole bunch of money on something that I could have just read in a book, but it was really not. It's like completely different when you've got a mentor and you've got a group of people,
yeah,
like supportive, like-minded people with you. But yeah, I was skeptical at first, but I mean, I'm glad I paid the money because that's what made me commit to it, you know?
it's exactly how I felt as well.
Yeah. So anyway, so I finished off my second season in Canada. I was just studying the whole time.
And how was
And
life
then I
different at that
eventually,
time? Like, did it change quickly or did it take a long time or like,
it took a little bit of time. Took a few months. Like I was still kind of like, felt like nothing was changing. But I just stuck with it. Just kept reading, kept watching the videos over and over and over again. And then I ended up flying back to Australia. I was just at that point I was a bit worried. Like I thought that my family, my sisters and stuff were just gonna think like, oh, I don't know. I just for some reason I had this weird thought that they thought I was just kind of like pathetic and miserable and boring, like for some really weird reason. And I was kind of scared to come home and sort of face the music of like reality, I guess. And then I come home and that's when everything started to change. I come home, went to Dad's. I didn't want to stay on Dad's couch. I didn't want to be that person. I ended up getting my license, my bank card, got a job, a house, and a new car within about a month.
yeah, it was
I
pretty
got
quick, yeah.
like a manager's position, just running a little food van, which was the first time I'd like had some responsibility, which I never thought I could. I'd never saw myself being able to tell people what to do or whatever. I just had a crack and ended up smashing it for 4 months. And then it was around like towards the end of working there is when I saw, like I had my big vision in mind that I'd written out from the start, like the big goal of kind of like just helping people in some way. And that's when I had this opportunity. So yeah, my mate Jason, who you know, one of my mates,
Yeah.
he's a couple of years younger than me. He's watching now, I think.
Is he? Hey,
He
Jay.
had he had a snowboard accident in Canada where I was in Whistler like a few years back. Landed badly on his neck and causing him to end up in a wheelchair. He's now he's a quadriplegic. But he's just fucking absolute legend. And yeah, his brother Will like took the role of looking after him full time since it happened, and he's just done you can't even explain the job that he's doing. Everyone who knows him knows it. He just took on the role, like no questions asked. And yeah, I was still in Canada when it happened, so he was back at home, and yeah, I got back home, and he'd been there for about 2 years, and got home, and then I saw this opportunity. I was like, I don't know, I just had this vision, like this flash, like this image that just like popped up on the screen of my mind, like so clear. I just thought I'm gonna kind of jump on board and kind of help do what Will does, as a way to be someone as a support for Jace, but also to take a bit of pressure off Will and give him some time to himself. And I just had this vision of us just being like the three of us, just being like this sick little team, supporting Jace through rehab and whatever, and just doing cool shit. And I was just like, this is perfect because I'll be able to keep studying my stuff. It'll allow me to, have plenty of time to surf and do what I love and study my thing while also doing something really meaningful at the same time. And it's just like, this is perfect. And I was just basically called them up. They were in America at the time. I was like, boys, what's going on? I'm going to jump on board, whether you like it or not, pretty much.
Yeah.
Later on, I was like, shit, I didn't really ask them. I just kind of said it.
I'm sure they don't
But
mind.
yeah, and then I was like, stuff it. This is kind of meant to be.
It's meant to
And
be. Yeah, exactly
yeah,
right. It's
and yeah,
amazing. It's amazing
so
what you
that
guys
was,
do. Yeah.
yeah. So that was like, I started that like October last year. And just throughout that whole time, I was just through studying and stuff. I just kept feeling my like vibration and self-confidence just shifting and going up and up and up. And that's when I started getting into like my breathing as well. Like one day I was just sitting there and, I had one of my days where I was just kind of like all these emotions and shit were just like coming to the surface, and that anxiety sort of stuff was coming up. And I just stopped and started focusing on my breathing. And then I started researching it, like how to breathe properly and stuff like that. And I just decided to like fall in love with it basically.
Yeah.
And then I got into like my Wim Hof stuff, like Wim Hof, ice baths. He does just incredible stuff. And I just fell in love with that, and that became a hobby of mine as well. And then, so I started working with the boys. We hung at home all summer. Jace, so Jace, like a little bit about Jace for anyone out there watching, he's just an absolute champion. Like he left school when he was 17 and went straight into a building apprenticeship. Like loves building. He was so good at his job from what I've heard from his ex-boss. He was always so switched on and so goal orientated all the time. Like, we'd all sort of been partying. He'll be like working, getting his tools for work, playing footy, going to the gym, like getting shit done all the time, and then leaving a bit of time to kind of have fun. So he just had like this perfect balance. And I was actually always very envious of it, even though he was younger than me, because at the time I was kind of going nowhere, just drinking like my life away or whatever. And he was just killing it. And, just always so switched on, like getting shit done all the time. And then, to have that accident happen to him and have all that taken away, like you can't even imagine. So I just wanted to be kind of that extra set of hands and support to help him still achieve whatever he wants to achieve.
Yeah, it's amazing. So what did you guys do in the last few months? Because I've been watching along, but not everyone else knows. Like the lifestyle that you guys lead now, like I think try paint a picture for people what your life is like now.
So we moved up. The three of us moved up to the Gold Coast. I think we left home nearly 2 months ago now. And we've been up on the Gold Coast, kind of moving around place to place, trying to find a suitable house, something that's got no stairs and like close to the beach, and just doing rehab a few days a week, Jace's rehab, going to music festivals, chilling at the beach, going to surf events, hanging out, meeting heaps of new people. It's like the weather's just beautiful. Just meeting heaps of new cool people. Just basically doing fun shit all the time, while also, focusing on trying to go to Jace's rehab, which is epic. Like it's just an amazing place. There's a bunch of other people with all the similar type of injuries.
Yeah.
And it's just such an incredible life that we've got now.
And how would you say like your mindset is different now from where it was, say, when you were back in Whistler before?
Yeah, well, what I sort of realized from this program, one of the main things was the whole like self-image. So basically they talk about how we've got two images. Like we've got the image on the outside, how we look, how we dress. But then we've got the image on the inside that we hold of ourselves, which ultimately projects to the outside world. And I didn't really realize, but my whole life I had a really poor image of myself. Like I just had this, sort of pathetic, sort of lazy, miserable, like stupid, like just not focused, like boring self-image on the inside. Like every single negative character trait you could think of was like rolled into one. That's how I felt at the time. And now, like a year later, since reading, they teach you to, write out a fantasy goal of how you want to be, how you want to live your life, and seeing yourself as the person you want to be, and, reading and writing that goal every single morning and every night, walking out your front door each day as if you are that person. And I've just noticed just a massive, massive change in like my own self-confidence and worth. Yeah. And I just feel like I know exactly where I'm going. Like I have a goal that's just big and massive and beautiful, and it's just so like I know it's something that I'm not capable of doing now. Like I want to eventually speak in front of thousands of people, which I'd be shitting myself to do now, but I know I can work my way up towards it.
Absolutely. So
But
massive power on the way to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just know exactly why I get up each morning. Like it started off as like I was like had to drag myself out of bed each morning to work towards my goal and study. Whereas now it's got that much of a hold over me. It's like it rips me out of bed. Like I went from like I used to like sleep, stay in my room till like 11 or 12 o'clock each day and just have no energy. To whereas now, my alarm goes off at 5:30 every morning. I like as soon as my alarm goes off, eyes open, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, both feet on the floor, into a cold shower, straight into the books. Like I know why I'm getting up, and I know what I'm doing. And you just start to see sort of opportunities everywhere, I guess, as you start to just eliminate that fear out of your life, I guess, as you start to change the image of yourself and just all the bullshit like that you used to believe about yourself is, it just starts to dissolve. Like I remember I used to always speak to you on the phone, like I'd call you and be like, oh, I still feel shit and stuff, I don't know why, and you'd just be like, Sam, just stop thinking about it. Don't give it any energy. Like, don't give it any attention. That's not you anymore. And you kept saying that. And then I started to understand. I was like, oh, I get it. Just don't focus on that. Just be the person that you want to be. And like, that the old paradigm, it's going to have, it has such a strong hold on you. Like when you're trying to change and you're trying to deviate from that self-image that you have. And it just like really tries to hold you back in your comfort zone, but you've just got to be like, nah, like, fuck off, that's not me anymore. Like I don't think like that. Think like the person that you want to be. And
so what would you say, Sam, to people, sorry to cut you off, what would you say to people who are like on this or who watch back to the playback? So probably plenty of your mates are going to watch back to this. Keep the people that are following me. I mean, I think you're just an absolute inspiration to young men. I think that there's such a an awareness right now around, even if we just touch on the topic of mental health, like there's such an awareness right now of the importance of trying to prevent mental health problems for people, especially for young men. And you're such an example of someone who's taken full responsibility of that before problems occurred, like just when you got some warning signs of life not being great and did something with it. So what would you say to people that are watching back to this or on this live right now who are, they have that inner burning desire inside of them for more, or they're not really sure what they want to do with their lives, who are just watching this and they're like looking at you for, for some words of wisdom?
Yeah, I just say, it doesn't matter what's happened in the past, what you've done, like doesn't matter what your parents have done, what your friends do, whether or not you have a goal right now, like like I've basically come from nothing. I've had no direction handed to me, nothing handed to me whatsoever. Never borrowed a single cent of my parents. Never, didn't left school early. Spent 10 years just like doing nothing, basically, like not sure where the hell I wanted to go. I would say to people like it doesn't matter. You don't need the uni degree or the trade, or this program is designed to help you think about what you actually want and how you actually want to live your life. And if you can think about that and answer that and think about like an accumulation of all the things you love doing, and you can achieve something, you can do something incredible and meaningful with your life. You just need to understand how our minds are conditioned to think. Like the way we think is literally just conditioned from a young age, and we have complete ability to take control of our thoughts and our feelings and take absolute control over our life and live the life that we want. And you can develop focus, self-confidence, all that stuff. It's all within us. We just need to it's just buried with all the insecurities and stuff, but you can eliminate all that, eliminate all the anxiety, and really shine. Like everyone can. If I can do it, anyone can, because I got to a point where like I felt like I had no way out. Like I was so far gone. I felt like this dark energy was just closing in on me, and I was like, there's no possible way. Like I don't know what to do here. And I've managed to pull myself out, and not only
more than that.
more, yeah, and now I'm just on track. I know big things are happening, and
Yeah.
I can't even, like, I didn't think it was possible to get where I am now, and now I know it is possible. I want to be able to teach as many people in the world as I can.
Yeah. Well, you're after taking one big massive step towards that with this.
Yeah.
I'm telling you
Yeah.
that now.
Yeah.
There's
If you
people on
had
this
told
call
me,
that will definitely.
if you had told me a
Go
year
on
ago
ahead.
that I was going to do this, then there was like
I
absolutely
know.
no way.
Absolutely no way. I can only imagine. Imagine if I was like, I'll write this into what you're going to be doing next year, Sam. You'd be like, not a bloody chance. There's no way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to
No way.
persuade you at all. And for you to
No
actually offer up, it's a whole different ballgame, right? So
Yeah.
I just think that you're an inspiration. I mean, I know you quite well now because we've been in contact and working together for quite some time now. And to see your growth, I feel honored to have been a part of it. I think that you're an absolute example, and I think that your energy and your desire to help people is just going to take you so far. So you should be really proud of that. And now what you're doing with Jace, you know, it's just spectacular. It's absolutely spectacular. So I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting on this and for being so honest and open and vulnerable.
Yeah.
And for sharing with people. I know it's not easy. It's not like the done thing, you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, kudos to you. Well done.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, sort of one thing, like, important thing. Like, the whole time when I was going through that really, really tough mental stage, I never wished there was any other way. Like, if some magical genie had have come up to me and said, we can give you all the health and happiness and money in the world right now if you want it, I would have said no, because I knew that it was a challenge sent to me, and that once I did get through it and got through the other side, that my whole world's just really just going to open up. And I'm seeing that happen now.
It did.
And it's you know, as part of it. So any challenge, like anything that's happening in your life, I used to think a lot of that kind of stuff was a disadvantage, you know, not having money growing up, not having anything handed to me. But now I realize it was an advantage, because it's just helped me to have my own independence and basically give me a blank canvas to do whatever the hell I want. And now that I know what's possible by taking control of your mind, I just want to just
shout from the rooftops.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well done,
but
Sam.
I got you to
absolute
thank.
Legend.
Yeah. And your faith in me from the start really you kind of plucked me out. You're like, nah, you're better than that.
Yeah. I'm like, none of that. Yeah. Look at me. And this is only the start. Jesus, I can't wait. Let's do this again in a year's time.
Yeah.
You'll probably be on stage. Yeah, you'll probably be on stage somewhere. We'll just be taking the live, like, with the phone, not like this.
Yeah.
Awesome. You absolute legend. Thank you. You should be very proud of yourself. I'm sure everyone is going to be like bombarding you with messages right now. And then for anyone who's on this as well, who wants to come join us for some more fun, we've just set up the Mindshifters Academy. It's a Facebook page. It's a closed group, but it's open to anybody to join. And I'm going to put it in the comments below. Sorry. Sam will be there. I'll be there. There'll be lots of inspiration, lots of education and personal development, and it's an open space for anyone to join. So come join us. So thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
An absolute honor, a pleasure. Go read all the comments. There's heaps going on there. You should enjoy it all.
I can't say it. But...
Yeah, it's okay. You can go catch up. It's fun now. This is the fun part.
All right.
Enjoy it. Okay. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
See you guys. Bye. Bye.